So, Phil, we're excited to welcome Michelle Magner to the Sea Captain Way podcast today. Michelle is a partner at Socium Advisors who specializes in solution based financial planning through aggregating clients' needs with high level resources. Prior to joining the practice, she was a portfolio manager with a regional bank and trust company where she managed the investment portfolio design and implementation. Michelle's breadth of knowledge in investment management continues to serve to help her clients decipher their financial portfolios and oversee the firm's investment
Hi,
committee.
Greg. Hi, Phil.
Welcome,
Great to
Michelle.
see you.
Yeah, Michelle, welcome. Yeah, great to be with you. And it's this is very exciting. For one, one is Michelle. Greg is from my old haunt back in the South St. Louis territory.
Oh, really?
Fresh out of Notre Dame High School, so that's kind of a cool
Oh,
little connect
nice.
that we have right here. And then,
Yeah.
but also, in my coaching experience, I do a lot of work with the firm she's a part of, which is cool. But what I've
Hmm.
come to, first of all, Michelle, it's great to have you. But what I came to really appreciate, and I think what the audience will appreciate about Michelle, is her journey to partner and leader within this robust firm that excels at just tremendous heights. And
Hmm.
so, Michelle, it's great to have you here, and
Yeah, thank you so
welcome.
much. What a ride it has been. So excited to be here today and share what I can.
Yeah, good,
Awesome.
good.
So, Michelle, you were a portfolio manager at a trust company, and the Socium CEO said your minimum account size was more than all of the assets his practice had under management when he first started recruiting you. So, how did he convince you to
Yeah,
leave your
that's right,
job and
Greg.
come
So
on board to the
a little
firm?
tongue in cheek, of course. He had about $12 million under management. At the time, I was overseeing about 200
Hmm.
million, and our minimum account size for new clients was 10. So it was very close to what he had under management. We met for coffee a couple of times. A mentor that I worked with actually at the bank said, "You will die old and stale here. You need to take this meeting and see what this guy has to say." And I still had no intention of leaving. But as you all know, Scott Underwood is a master communicator and a master visionary. And so after the fourth or fifth coffee, he was telling me when I was going to start. And there was just something about him and the vision that he had that really inspired me. I was just young and kind of dumb enough to make the move, and best decision I ever made.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool story, and to know Scott, and Scott's been on our podcast, as many of the listeners would know. His visionary element comes with the ability to surround himself with tremendous people, and Michelle's just a great example. However, she starts really at a stage where it was really just a dream. You talk about a startup phase in this particular space. It was a powerful journey that I've come to know and be a part of. So you were the first non-contracted equity partner at the Fortune 100 firm that you work with, excuse me. You didn't come up through the ranks in a traditional career trajectory. So for the salespeople here, that's the model of going door to door and doing the selling. You came from a different setup, but you still grabbed the brass ring and still have evolved into this leadership position. How are you able to achieve that remarkable level of success on your terms uh, with the path
Yeah,
that you
so I think
blazed?
it's mostly just being fortunate enough to be surrounded by really incredible mentors, like the woman at the bank who encouraged me to meet with Scott, like Scott, who's pushed me sometimes gently, sometimes a little less gently, to say, "You have this in you, you have this ability to sell and to be an advisor and to be really successful in this space." Because I did spend the first part of my career here really overseeing the investment side of the firm, driving investment strategy, investment philosophy, and operations. And once we kind of got that pretty well taken care of and up and running, he pushed me to be an advisor. And again, sometimes I was kicking and screaming and didn't think I could handle the business development portion that role really requires. And what I found was that making relationships, being that relationship manager, it just kind of leads organically to a lot of the business development that is part of the role that I sit in currently.
Yeah, so maybe to elaborate a little bit more on that shift. Okay, what was an example of a challenge that you
Well, I
pushed
told
through?
Scott from day one, listen, I want to be a part of this with you, but I'd like to kind of sit in the background. I don't sell. I I never want to have any sort of sales responsibility. And he would always kind of say, okay, okay, sure, we can talk about that. And what do you know? I'm a very strong producer for the firm as it stands today because he has pushed me out of my kind of square comfort zone and forced me to see what I maybe didn't even see in myself.
Yeah, and that's powerful. And I think that, Greg, the piece that I notice with in financial services now is that traditionally it was all about one size fits all. You had to do things a certain way, a certain amount of times to achieve a certain result. And if you didn't, people looked at you like, well, it's just not going to work. And it's a shame now to know, because of so many success stories like Michelle here, that boy, all the talent that just got put away because no one would push them to grow or accept their path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the nice change in the advisory space that really helps the client. Michelle, I've come to know, is detail oriented. She's a procedural person, so she processes well, and her impeccable, standards. So these are things that in new firms, advisory firms, growing firms, these are things that are critical, the yin and yang, if you will, of how to build this thing.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So, Michelle, I learned that you and Phil and I are all Mizzou alumni. So that was fun. And then when I was reading your bio, I was surprised. So you were a sociology major at the University of Missouri. How did you switch gears to make your entree into the financial services industry?
So sociology major so that I could have the strongest GPA to get into the best law school that I possibly could. That was
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth comes out.
Wow. Playing the long game at the age of 18.
Moving to California to attend law school. Was taking a year off between undergrad and law school. So I started working at the bank in financial services just as a way to kind of save money and have another year with family and friends here locally. And throughout that time period, really started evaluating the 6 figures of debt that I was about to be taking on and really starting to garner a lot of interest in the financial world. And next thing you know, I'm registering for my securities exams and taking a completely new path.
Yeah, Greg, I think majoring in sociology back then was basically majoring in sorority, I think, at the time.
Wow.
Just trying to get
fired.
Just trying to get through. I understand how that works. I mean, that's like a geology
Very
major.
similar.
We said very similar, right? You had to take, that was the course you had to take, to fill in your transcript, right? No, I'm just having fun with you.
Well, there's a left brain and a right brain. I mean, that the ability to do the analytics and the fact that you're a portfolio manager. I mean, I was a journalism major for a reason because I am not a mathlete by any stretch, but that's fascinating to me.
No, I'm just having fun with you because now knowing you and knowing what you've achieved, it is funny and reflective to go back to these types of things. So now Socium Advisors, okay, went from 12 million in assets. Now it's getting close to 2 billion, I think.
1.8
that you guys are managing.
Yeah.
1.8,
Oh,
and there's your
Right.
procedural, Michelle, right there. It's not Scott. Scott would say 2.5. Michelle says 1.86273.
Correct.
I love it. But what are some of the key factors that contributed to
Yeah,
this
so
tremendous growth?
we are very client centric here, and we focus on client growth. And ultimately, that's a big part of why I did make the shift to work with Scott. Being at a bank and trust company, we will talk to you once you've accumulated this huge bucket of money or net worth. And here at Socium, we will talk to you and partner with you as you build that bucket of money. And for our clients who aren't in distribution, I would say 80 to 90% of them have regular systematic savings coming in. And so we really push on that discipline for clients to be saving and accumulating along the way. And we work with and partner with other advisors to be that back office. We have the depth and breadth of the team and the planning and specializations within the firm. And those two factors are why we've been able to grow the way that we have.
Yeah, so it's an organic model, and it does really push on Greg, client disciplines and consistency, and just very goal centric, and so it's neat.
Yeah, so I know as part of that growth, Michelle, Socium Advisors puts a big emphasis on the employee experience and the client experience as part of its core values and culture. How would you describe the firm's philosophy, if you will, in these two key areas
Yeah,
of
so
employee
we always
and
say
client
that they
engagement?
are essentially one and the same, right? So we've recently moved into our new space here in St. Louis, our new office. It is absolutely incredible. Anyone who walks in this space is blown away by the culture, the vibe, the feeling that you get just by walking in. Throw in some team members into that mix, and you can really feel what our culture is all about. And we want to drive employee experience so that it exudes through to the relationships that they have with the clients, right? I think Scott has said in the past, how could you underpay and overwork employees and expect them to pick up the phone and say, hello, client, how can I help you with your issues today? So we want to create an incredible employee experience, a home away from home. This is where a lot of our team spends maybe more time or as much time as they spend at their own homes. And that will shine through to how they treat and interact with our clients. We've even implemented, after 5 years of service with the firm, that employees have the ability to take a 30-day sabbatical. We help cover the cost. We pay them all of their compensation and bonus while they're gone, and they come back and report to the team the experience that they had. And it's been really incredible for those that have taken advantage. It's a way for us to rejuvenate because we do go really hard.
Yeah, and
And the kitchen looks like a cool cafe space or a restaurant or
Absolutely.
something. I was like, holy moly.
I was just about to say, Greg, there are four things now that you need to see when you go to St. Louis, Missouri. One is the Arch,
Okay.
okay. Two, Busch Stadium, of course, right? The third one is the brewery, all right. The fourth one is Socium's office space. It has become like a destination. It's an incredible experience that really takes on the essence of the firm itself. Now, Michelle, I understand you're a marathon runner who has completed what, 10
Yes, that is
marathons now? Is that
correct.
right?
3 of those being post having
Uh,
my 3 children, which were also the 3 best times that I had as well.
yeah, and just so that we have a lot, we have a lot in common. I've run 26 miles in my entire life.
Congratulations.
Okay, so but
Yeah.
Right.
similar, you can't deny
Yeah.
I've done a marathon in my life. Um, but and these marathons are, not a walk in the park. We're talking about Boston, Chicago. You mentioned one of your goals is to compete in the 6 world marathon majors. What are some of these marathons, and what's your motivation
Yes.
for doing
So
this?
I ran Boston for the first time in 2022. And when I was there attending the race expo prior to the marathon, I saw this display and there were representatives there talking about the 6 major world marathons, which are Tokyo, Berlin, New York, London, Chicago, that I hadn't completed any of those yet. And what chance and what opportunity would someone like me, an average athlete, be able to participate and say that I was a participant in a major for any sport? So once I realized that it existed and I had theoretically been able to complete the toughest one, because Boston is the only marathon that you have to qualify for from a time perspective, I thought, wow, this is something that I'm just going to have to put on my list and accomplish.
That's nice. Yeah, you have a lot in common with
Yeah.
Greg there. I don't know if you know this, but Greg is woken up without knowing where he was in all of those cities as well.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
We all have
Yeah,
our
I'm
strengths.
I'm healthier now. Yeah, there was a period where yeah, I'm healthier now. There was a period where the only exercise I was getting was coughing, but now I've snapped out of it. So yeah, so I'd like to take notes when we talk. So between you and Phil,
That's
you've run 10 marathons. Do I have that one right? You and Bender combined
11.
lifetime.
11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to off of that, Michelle, you mentioned that you bridged your love of running with an organization that's close to your heart, which is St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. You've raised money for the hospital and participated in St. Jude's Marathon several times. You described running through the hospital's campus and seeing the patients and their families as one of the most moving experiences of your life. Why is that so,
St.
and what was
Jude
that
is
experience like?
obviously a really incredible institution that I've supported financially for years. I've participated in their marathon that runs through the city of Memphis several times. And there's no other race where going into it, you just know and you set out to understand that as you're running through the campus, because the course runs right through the hospital campus, you just know going into it that from mile 6 to about 7.5, tears will be streaming down your face. There are families everywhere, children, patients out there with signs, cheering you on, making you feel like, you know, a hero when really they are the heroes. And so it's just a really emotional experience, one that is so moving and rewarding and just, you know, kind of keeps you going. So it's a really incredible cause. Of course, we all want to end childhood cancer. And I love that I can kind of meld the two together.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
that's incredible. When did you start running? I know you said you were an
So I
athlete.
played soccer
like
most
soccer?
of my life. And interestingly and somewhat ironically, the day that I was finished playing soccer, I said, wow, this is amazing. I will never run again. Because it was the part of soccer that I absolutely hated was conditioning. And it was probably a year or two later, almost on a dare, someone encouraged me to sign up for a half marathon. And here we are, 10 full marathons later. So.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, a good friend of mine played for a very famous high school soccer coach here in St. Louis. I asked him what it was like, and he said there were practices where I never even saw a soccer ball. All we did was run.
The days.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like St. Louis didn't have heat or anything. Those were tough days. In that, because I think all soccer was done in started like in August and September, right?
Yes, and high school soccer for women was in the spring, but we played all year. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you pretty much played all year. Yeah. So Michelle, you know, this is a leadership podcast, and we talk about culture and we talk about success stories and how people have achieved things and how they give back. And you just have encompassed all of that today. And I appreciate you being here. Two things, really. One is give us a vision for your future. What does that look like? And then I'll have a follow-up.
I think at Socium here, so professionally, we're kind of entering into this next phase of growth. and wanting to share our values and principles and planning philosophy with as many clients as possible. So looking to really grow the firm over the next 5 and 10 years and touch and influence as many families as we possibly can. And do it all while having fun in our incredible space and working really, really hard.
Oh, that's awesome. And so I guess to wrap this thing, Greg, how did again, someone's out on this call and they say Michelle Magner is one of the three coolest people I've ever heard, and I would like to put my portfolio with Socium, for example, just as an example. How do they connect with you?
They can reach us at www.sa.nm.com. That's our company website. Follow us on Instagram. Reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Terrific, terrific. And so I guess that's a wrap, Greg. Anything else
Yeah.
from you today?
No, it was great. Yeah, local girl makes good. I'm so cool that you're a Mizzou alum and you've all this career success. I think I mentioned my daughter was a sociology major in college. I was like, what are you going to do with that? But if you're smart and you're driven, you're going to go grab the brass ring, and you sure did. That's awesome.
Thank you both so much.
Thank
you.
Yeah, I always talk about, your education gets you on a rung in the ladder of life. The better you do at your education, the higher the rung, but how you climb from there really matters. And you did some climbing. And so congratulations to you. Thanks so much for being on, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.